Chapter 12:16, Repay this world for being warm. At night, Lu Xiaoyu made dinner at home. Chen Zuan and Cheng Qiuqiao ate hungrily. It was not that the food served in the Longmen Fortress was not delicious. They felt that the atmosphere at Lu Shu's place was better. Chen Zuan and Cheng Qiuqiao did not have many friends. Furthermore, the former species' research specialization was like a rope that connected everyone together. They were not simply friends. They were more like a family, if Lu Xiaoyu did not collect fees for their meals. As Chen Zuan and Cheng Qiuqiao played games in the living room, they asked, "Brother Shu, what are your plans after this?" Lu Shu sat at one side and thought about it. Then, he said, "I will clarify some things with Zhang Weiyu and the rest. Then, we will wait for the space pathway to open and get rid of Duanmu Huangqi. After that, we will go to the palace." Chen Zuan's eyes lit up. The palace? I heard from Zhang Weiyu and the rest that the palace is bustling. There are many beautiful women there, right? Are you that desperate? Are you going to the Luniverse to find someone because you can't find anyone on Earth? Lu Shu was puzzled. Brother Shu, don't be mistaken. It's not that I cannot find a partner. Chen Zuan explained, my exes can play mahjong together. Lu Shu was happy. That's only 4. Seeing how sick in the mind you are, I assumed that you have over 10 exes. Brother Shu, you are ignorant. Chen Zuan laughed. I am talking about mahjong. Oh. Lu Shu slapped the back of Chen Zuan's head. Why can't you find a group of heroes? Cheng Qiuqiao cheerfully killed Chen Zuan's character in the game as he laughed. Brother Shu, you might not know this. Others post online that they are going out with their partner and ask whether anyone has suggestions on where to go. Brother Zuan is different. He will post that he wants to go out with his partner and asks whether anyone has any partner recommendations. Do you have the right to say that? Aren't you single too? Chen Zuan had been thoroughly humiliated. He was so embarrassed that he grew angry. How can someone with such solid beliefs like mine be not able to find a partner? Lu Shu was silent for 2 seconds. Zuan, did you know? Appearances are more important than beliefs. Chen Zuan was speechless. From Chen Zuan's distress, plus 666. Lu Xiaoyu started to carry dishes out. Lu Shu kicked the sofa and shocked Chen Zuan. Go and help her. Oh. Chen Zuan earnestly went to help. The 4 of them gathered at the table, revealing how small the table was. In the past, only Lu Shu and Lu Xiaoyu sat at this table and ate. It was more than enough for them. But now, Chen Zuan, Cheng Qiuqiao, and Little Fury were here. The table seemed a bit cramped. But Lu Shu suddenly felt that this was rather good. After all, it was more cozy. Lu Shu looked at Lu Xiaoyu and realized that she was looking at them expectantly. Hurry and try the food. Is it good? Delicious, delicious. Chen Zuan ate a piece of meat. Where is this ingredient from? What kind of meat is this? Why is it so fragrant? Bear meat. Lu Shu explained there was a rank 1 bear in the forbidden land of the remains. Ordinary people will be healed of their ailments when they eat it. Their lifespan will also increase. Under normal circumstances, they will become stronger, much stronger if they are lucky. Lu Xiaoyu reminded him. Uncle Li and the rest are ordinary people as well. We should give some to them. Lu Xiaoyu was the one who reminded Lu Shu. Uncle Li referred to the uncle that sold breakfast with Lu Shu. Back then, Lu Shu sold boiled eggs. At first, Uncle Li sold eggs at their breakfast stall. Later on, they stopped and gave the egg business to Lu Shu. Some people had to eat eggs in the morning, or liked to eat eggs. They were used to buying eggs at the breakfast stall, but ever since Uncle Li stopped selling eggs, they had no choice but to buy from Lu Shu. If it were not for Uncle Li's actions, Lu Shu might not have been able to survive. After all, selling boiled eggs was not a lucrative business. People were often tightly connected with the lives of others due to compassion. This was called a bond. Lu Shu smiled. I asked Zhong Yutong to help me find them and send the meat to them. Although they cannot train, they will not fall sick as easily with these ingredients. They will be able to live longer as well. Lu Shu suddenly realized that if the frightening creatures God Lu had nurtured were to be used by someone with strong murderous intent, they might be able to destroy a world. But if the creatures were used by a good person, they would be able to bring fortune to many people. Lu Shu did not expect Lu Xiaoyu to remind him of this. He had changed, but so had Lu Xiaoyu. Right? And the refresher fruits. Lu Xiaoyu said, do you remember that there were people in the Heavenly Network who had forcefully advanced in a war? Last time, although you gave out a batch of refresher fruits, not many people received them. Needless to say, every time Lu Shu heard of forceful advancement, he could not help but think about Lu Xiao protecting him during the battle at the Collection of Gods. He would also think about Zhao Yongchen and the rest who had protected the shops in Africa. He solemnly nodded his head. I have to. Lu Shu suddenly realized that Lu Xiaoyu was very holistic in her thinking. It could be considered as careful consideration. She was probably worried about what they would do if they went to the Luniverse and never returned. Lu Xiaoshu. Lu Xiaoyu asked as she ate, the third level of your celestial map is Sparrow Shade, right? Yes. Lu Shu nodded his head. In terms of mass-killing power, it is my greatest trump card, along with the lightning aura blades. Although I do not have as many strands of Sparrow Shade as lightning aura blades, with only 2,304 strands, the lightning aura blade can only be used once. They have to regenerate for 1 day before being used again. This does not apply to the Sparrow Shade. It is more suitable for long battles. Wait. Lu Xiaoyu furrowed her eyebrows. Is that number correct? Lu Shu was dumbfounded. I had 36 strands when I finished the third level of Nebula. When I lit up the first star, I had 72 strands. Then shouldn't you have 4,608 strands now? Lu Xiaoyu asked after doing some quick mental calculations. Lu Shu awkwardly laughed. Ha! 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 Is that so? Chen Zuan slapped the table and laughed out loud. Brother Shu, you pride yourself as a mugger. But the moment he finished speaking, Lu Shu's expression turned dark. He turned to Chen Zuan and asked, is your math very good? Chen Zuan instantly grew weak, but he did not back down. At least I can add and subtract numbers correctly under 10,000. Lu Shu was silent for 2 seconds. Then, he laughed coldly. Then what is 2,341.91929 plus 3,182.10399? Chen Zuan was dumbfounded. What kind of number is that? Brother Shu, are you serious? From Chen Zuan's distress, plus 666.666. Lu Shu was also dumbfounded. This was his first time seeing decimals in distress points. Chapter 12:17, Recognizable. At night, over 5,000 people from the Weiwu army gathered. They sat on the parade square and waited for Lu Shu to arrive. They had wanted to participate in the Yellowstone National Park remains, but were stopped by Lu Shu. Putting aside how they would travel there, if the entire Weiwu army participated in the remains, the overseas secret practitioners would not dare to enter. How would Lu Shu earn distress points? When Lu Shu thought about his distress points, he could not help but feel a heartache. The Weiwu army had been training hard during this period of time. Furthermore, Zhang Weiyu learned about leading an army from the Heavenly Network. Of course, not everything from the Heavenly Network could be used. Thus, Zhang Weiyu had to learn from the Heavenly Network's strengths to offset his own weaknesses. As the former leader of the Imperial Palace soldiers, his experience in gathering practitioners to fight also amazed the Heavenly Network and the rest. In reality, the Heavenly Network did not have much experience in this aspect. Thus, they learned from each other. At that moment, over 5,000 soldiers from the Weiwu army sat with their legs crossed and their bodies upright. The parade square was silent. The bandits of Azure Dragon Village and the slave army of the Weiwu army had all become true soldiers. These were brave soldiers who had defeated strong enemies and trampled the palace. They carried out orders and heeded prohibitions. The strength of the Weiwu army had been diverse. But now, only 2 people had advanced to rank 1, the rest were all rank 2 experts. There was probably no army who was on par with them in terms of pure strength, even in the Luniverse. The patrolling soldiers from the Heavenly Network curiously looked on. They were very familiar with the Weiwu army. Typically, there was no regular routine among them. What was happening today? The Weiwu army and the Heavenly Network integrated very well. There were also conflicts between them, but they were private conflicts. When they bathed with hot water, it was rather cramped. They occasionally bumped into one another on accident. This was very normal. They got over it after a few sentences of complaints. The veterans grew closer amidst this interaction. Recently, they had started to call one another brothers. They treated one another as comrades. Furthermore, the Heavenly Network soldiers were rather won over. Each member of the Weiwu army was on the same level as a Heavenly King, but they did not use their combat power to win others over. Now, the Heavenly Network was interested in the stories of the 9th Heavenly King leading the Weiwu army across the Luniverse, that they heard in the canteen. For example, they listened to stories of how Lu Shu had a mountain named after him and of tunnel warfare. They also listened to how they eliminated the aristocrat armies and how the gambling dens in the palace were. All of these stories were soul-stirring. They even caused the soldiers of the Heavenly Network to want to follow Lu Shu to the Luniverse. This did not sound like much to them. Lu Shu was the 9th Heavenly King. They would not go wrong if they followed Lu Shu. To the soldiers from the Heavenly Network, listening to Lu Shu's stories in the Luniverse was like listening to a storyteller. The heroes in the stories were able to turn ill fate into good luck, and danger into opportunity. The Earth was too ordinary. The Luniverse seemed more interesting. Of course, the most uncomfortable part about the interactions between the Heavenly Network and the Weiwu army was the age difference. The Heavenly Network soldiers were in their 20s, while the average age of the Weiwu army soldiers was 80. Thus, it was sometimes tough to have a conversation. For example, Li Haitan looked like a frank person. But once he started to argue, he would say, "I am the same age as your grandfather. Can't you give in to me? What if I get so angry that I start to bleed? Who will take responsibility?" They had nothing to say. They even wanted to hit someone. The soldiers that the 9th Heavenly King led would definitely not be earnest. The Heavenly Network was slightly curious. Why was the Weiwu army suddenly sitting on the parade square? Usually, they would be in the dorms chatting. At that moment, the night sky seemed to have been forcefully opened up by someone. Lu Shu stepped out from the void and stood in front of the Weiwu army. The soldiers from the Heavenly Network understood. The 9th Heavenly King was about to give them a lecture. No wonder they were so obedient. Lu Shu looked at Zhang Weiyu and said, "Everyone, pack your things. When the space pathway opens, we will go and kill Duanmu Huangqi." Zhang Weiyu looked up and said, "Yes, sir. No need to be so nervous." Lu Shu laughed. "We are just killing Duanmu Huangqi." This sounded tyrannical to Zhang Weiyu and the rest. Duanmu Huangqi was the West Lord of Heaven, but they were just killing a Lord of Heaven. Zhang Weiyu had seen many tyrannical people. But he had only seen a few people as tyrannical as this. There was the old King of Gods, the head of the Sword Hut, and Lu Shu in front of him. Were there a total of 3 people? Zhang Weiyu was not sure. He felt that there were probably 2 people. Earlier, he had been telling Lu Yizhao that this person was a fake. He was definitely not that person. Lu Yizhao, you are wrong. Back then, on King Lu Mountain, Zhang Weiyu had almost given up his freedom. When Lu Yizhao had just arrived, he decided to follow Lu Shu. Zhang Weiyu went through great pains to explain to him. In the end, he was tricked by Lu Yizhao's understanding. It made him seem like a scammer. Suddenly, Corpse Dog emerged from Lu Shu's finger and flew around. Lu Shu felt that the objects in the celestial map were very recognizable. It was precisely because Lu Shu felt that the weapons in the celestial map were too recognizable, that he did not use them in the Luniverse. When he fought his way to the palace on the limestone road, his sparrow shade had been hidden in the dust. The rest of his sword had killed all his opponents. It could be said that the people who had seen Sparrow Shade, Corpse Dog, and Concealed Arrow were all dead. Back then, Lu Shu had a guess, but was not willing to admit it. How could a person who did not even want to become a heavenly king, and a person who simply wanted to live his days peacefully, be willing to accept an even more frightening identity? When he realized that only he and Lu Xiaoyu were able to go through the celestial gate, he had understood many things, but was not willing to tell anyone. He did not even ask Lu Xiaoyu how she had come. Did he go to the sword hut just to find the way home? He also wanted to go to the palace and the sword hut to see what he was like in the past. He also wanted to know what plans had been plotted against him. Lu Shu was not foolish. He had never been foolish. To many people, a title associated with the throne was a form of honor. It represented the power as the ruler of the Luniverse. But to the Luniverse, it was a burden. If he went back to search for something he had personally ended in his previous life, it would be a joke. Lu Shu calmly looked at Zhang Weiyu. Do you recognize this? Zhang Weiyu was dumbfounded. What is this? Lu Shu was speechless. Chapter 12:18, Sorry to disturb you. Lu Shu thought that if he took out Corpse Dog and Concealed Arrow, Zhang Weiyu would be able to recognize who he was. After all, the objects in the celestial map were passed down. It did not make sense for Zhang Weiyu, the head of the Imperial Palace soldiers, to not have seen them before. But he overlooked the fact that although that person was as lowly as him, their personalities were still different. The old King of Gods was very distrustful. Lu Shu's cautiousness was nothing compared to the old King of Gods. For example, Zhang Weiyu did not know why he had been sent to the fields. The entire Luniverse did not seem to know that the old King of Gods could obtain the real names of everyone. They only knew that the old King of Gods had a mysterious power in this aspect, but they did not know why. Even Cloudy and Tiger Ji, the puppet masters who were closest to the old King of Gods, did not know. Wen Zaifu had deeply felt the cruelty of the old King of Gods' peaceful order. When he was young, he followed the old King of Gods and crossed the bridge at his hometown. The old King of Gods had said that if Wen Zaifu turned back, he would destroy that bridge. The old King of Gods was decisive and full of murderous intent. He was used to concealing everything in the depths of his heart. He was worried that one day, his weak spots would be exposed. Then, it would be beyond redemption. Thus, Lu Shu had overlooked something. Those who had seen Corpse Dog and Concealed Arrow were probably dead. Only Filth Removal, a creature from the 6th level of Nebula, would know the secrets of the old King of Gods. However, the first time the old King of Gods trusted him, he had locked him up in the remains. Thus, Cloudy and Tiger Ji would say that Lu Shu and the old King of Gods were different, as they had felt the changes. Lu Shu was different. Although he was also cautious, distrusting, unsociable, eccentric, and selfish, he had always been willing to reconcile with the world. He was just waiting for someone to embrace him. On the other hand, the old King of Gods was a lonely king. He was never willing to reveal his inner world. Even the people beside him were unable to truly understand him. The old king of gods himself was also conflicted, to the point that he started to doubt himself. Lu Shu could not understand. How could someone as strong and invincible as him walk towards destruction? Lu Shu calmly looked at Zhang Weiyu's puzzled expression. Sorry to disturb you. His acting had failed. After he kept Corpse Dog in the celestial map, he looked at Lu Yizhao as if nothing had happened. After we go to the Luniverse, I want you to obtain all the information about what's happening. Obtain information about the underlings who ran away from the limestone road at the palace. Lu Yizhao saluted. Yes, sir. Zhang Weiyu looked at Lu Shu. Great Lord, who will be the vanguard on the way to the West capital? Li Haitan jumped up. Great Lord, me. Lu Shu looked at Li Haitan. He hesitated, he asked, let me ask you. What is the most dangerous thing we will face while heading north? Li Haitan went into deep thought. Then, he answered, letting me be the vanguard? You are rather self-aware. Go stand to one side, said Lu Shu unkindly. He turned and said to Zhang Weiyu, the Weiwu army does not need a vanguard. We will advance together. You don't think that I am being swayed by personal feelings? I have thought deeply about this. The overall strength of the Weiwu army means that you cannot treat the Weiwu army as an ordinary army. Furthermore, we do not need anyone to be a sacrifice. Zhang Weiyu's feelings were rather complex. He had always been adjusting strategies for the Weiwu army, but now, he felt that there was no need to do so. The current state of the Weiwu army was very familiar. They were the Imperial Dragon soldiers he had been leading for hundreds of years. They did not need anyone to be a sacrifice. Everyone would be able to advance together. They would definitely win against their enemies. Zhang Weiyu took a deep breath and said, I understand. Suddenly, Lu Shu asked, do you know Ouyang Lisheng? Ouyang Lisheng was the lamp god. Lu Shu felt that he was amazing. Others would ask the lamp god to fulfill their wishes, he fulfilled the wish of a lamp god. Ouyang Lisheng? Zhang Weiyu was dumbfounded. The creator of the armor that shakes mountains? His name is engraved in every piece of the World Tide. The World Tide? Lu Shu remembered this name. Zhang Weiyu had talked about this before. Back then, they were in a cavern in Qinglu Mountain. Zhang Weiyu told Lu Shu that the Imperial Dragon soldiers used weapons bestowed upon them by the old King of Gods. It was called the World Tide. Each World Tide could be divided into 7 pieces. The Imperial Palace soldiers had special techniques that complemented the World Tide. When the pieces formed a tide, they could injure a master. Back then, Lu Shu thought that it was rather impressive but did not take it to heart. But he had seen the power of the armor that shook mountains. Lu Shu was touched that the armor that shook mountains and the World Tide had been created by the same person. Do you know where the World Tide went? I don't know. We were criminals who were chased out of the Imperial Palace soldiers. Zhang Weiyu explained, the World Tide that belonged to us were confiscated as well. Furthermore, 18 years ago, the Imperial Dragon soldiers and Imperial Palace soldiers suffered severe injuries. Many people concealed their names and left the palace. I don't know where they went. Criminals like us who left the palace a long time ago do not know exactly what happened. Lu Shu looked at Lu Yizhao. Do you know anything? Lu Yizhao shook his head. I was sent out 1 year before it happened. I don't know what happened during that period of time. Lu Shu felt that it was a pity. It would be great if you could find the World Tide. At that moment, Lu Shu saw that the World Tide was his possession. Strictly speaking, there was nothing wrong with this. To Lu Shu, he could give up everything in the past, except for his property. But Lu Shu was self-aware. Ouyang Lisheng was with him now. Although he could not find the World Tide from the past, would Ouyang Lisheng be able to create a new one? To be honest, although the magical armor he had purchased was very powerful, they were a far cry from the armor that shook mountains. Since they had found an expert refiner, why not make good use of him? Fine. Pack your things. Be prepared to set off at any time. We are just waiting for the space pathway to open up. With that, Lu Shu turned and stepped into a void. He was going to have a good talk with the lamp god, Ouyang Lisheng. They would talk for the entire night. When Lu Shu returned home, he took out the bronze lamp and carefully observed it. He had not observed it before. He now realized that there were the words, Ouyang Lisheng, on the base of the bronze lamp. A true refining master would hope that people would remember when they created a good weapon. It was something that they had trained for. Ouyang Lisheng was no exception. Lu Shu knocked on the bronze lamp. Come out. Suddenly, the bronze lamp produced a flame. Ouyang Lisheng appeared in the smoke. He endured the massive shame and said, "Could you fulfill a wish of mine?" Chapter 12:19 Master of Weapons. Lu Shu was very surprised. The attitude of the lamp god changed rather quickly. He did not even ask and made Lu Shu grant him a wish directly. However, Lu Shu's attitude changed immediately after he had confirmed that the lamp god named Ouyang Lisheng was the creator of the armor that shook mountains and the world tide. Lu Shu said nicely, "What is your wish? I will try to grant it." However, at this moment, Lu Shu suddenly realized that Ouyang Lisheng was looking around. Lu Shu was confused. "What are you looking for?" Ouyang Lisheng was stunned after seeing the television in the living room. "What is this?" Television, introduced Lu Shu. He realized that Ouyang Lisheng was very interested in technology gadgets. This behavior was seen in Zhang Weiyu and the rest too. For example, till date, all the soldiers in the Weiwu army like to greet Lu Shu every morning with a text message. Therefore, every morning, Lu Shu would receive over 5,000 text messages. However, Ouyang Lisheng was different. He was a master of weapons. Perhaps, regarding new inventions, he was probably one of the most interested persons in the world. Zhang Weiyu and the rest thought that the technological devices like mobile phones and cars were fun, but Ouyang Lisheng was desperate to find out how they operated and if he could learn something out of them. Ouyang Lisheng examined the environment. Where am I? How long did I stay in the bronze lamp? Is God Lu all right? Initially, Lu Shu looked at Ouyang Lisheng with interest. However, after Ouyang Lisheng said the last sentence, he felt that the world of the remains did not change at all. However, Lu Shu did not answer Ouyang Lisheng's question. He would rather Ouyang Lisheng feel confused for a while longer. Lu Shu pointed at the television and said, "Television, a machine that allows you to watch television shows." "What's a television show?" "It's so interesting, people can live inside it." Ouyang Lisheng was confused. He tried to touch the television screen and realized that he could not get his hand through the layer of glass. All the images were behind the glass. Ouyang Lisheng went to the toilet and was shocked when he saw the washing machine. "What is this? Why can it move without spirit qi?" "This is a washing machine," explained Lu Shu. "It washes clothes automatically." The clothes inside were clothes that Ouyang Lisheng had just put in. After looking at it for a while, Ouyang Lisheng mumbled, "A person that washes clothes?" Lu Shu was stunned and said angrily, "A person does not provide services for washing clothes. This is a machine." Oh, machine. Ouyang Lisheng repeated after Lu Shu, "Hold on, what person were you talking about?" "All right, stop dwelling over this." Lu Shu waved his hand. "Didn't you want to make a wish?" Lu Shu realized that although Ouyang Lisheng floated around, he had a cloud of green smoke beneath his feet that connected with the light bulb. Ouyang Lisheng's body was real as he could touch real things. However, he wanted Lu Shu to bring him out earlier on, which meant that he was unable to hold the bronze lamp himself. Ouyang Lisheng's name was engraved below the bronze lamp. Therefore, the bronze lamp was probably something made for him. However, why would he be willing to give up on his physical body to hide in the bronze lamp? Hey, how far away can you go from the bronze lamp? Asked Lu Shu. Then, Lu Shu saw a look of panic from Ouyang Lisheng. Of course, I am able to move as far as I want to. Oh. Lu Shu walked in the opposite direction of where Ouyang Lisheng was heading to. I will try. However, before he could take 2 steps, Ouyang Lisheng ran over and held onto Lu Shu's leg. 50 meters. Lu Shu laughed happily. Let's make this clear. Now, the bronze lamp is with me, so all of us should be more sincere with our words, okay? I don't have bad intentions, tell me what you need and we can discuss. Ouyang Lisheng's life was in Lu Shu's hand. Therefore, he could only pray that Lu Shu had good intentions. Lu Shu asked, I have a few questions for you. I will ask and you shall reply. Did you create both the world tide and armor that shook mountains? When Lu Shu mentioned the things that Ouyang Lisheng was proud of, Ouyang Lisheng looked extremely proud. Of course, I am the best in the weaponry field of the universe. Master, do you know what's a master? Oh, what other things have you made? Apart from this bronze lamp, asked Lu Shu curiously. The owner of the sword hut had once asked me to make 3 lotus sword pills, each of which had the power of a sword. Ouyang Lisheng said proudly. Lu Shu heard about the sword pills from Lu Yizhou. Initially, when Lu Yizhou was freed from difficulties in Nanning City, he would probably not have been able to leave if not for the lotus sword pill given by the owner of the sword hut. However, where were the other 2 pills? Of course, Lu Shu was not interested in looking for them as, after all, they were not important to him. What else did you make? How can you be a master like this? Lu Shu provoked him. The messenger mirror, said Ouyang Lisheng proudly again, apart from the messenger mirror, I selflessly made the method public. Is this enough for me to be called a master? The messenger mirror is something that blessed the entire universe. However, judging from this, Ouyang Lisheng probably was unaware that he was not in the universe. Lu Shu thought that he had struck luck. The messenger mirror was made by Ouyang Lisheng? Lu Shu was curious, was the idea of the messenger mirror from you? Ouyang Lisheng kept silent for a while. No, God Lu gave me the idea. However, he told me that the messenger mirror only needed to have the feature of transmitting voice. However, I took it further and made more creations, such that both parties could see each other too. Indeed. Lu Shu was thinking about how the messenger mirror was a relatively new creation in the universe. Therefore, Lu Shu thought that the old king of gods had seen something like a telephone on Earth. It seemed like his guess was correct. However, it had been a long time since the old king of gods came to Earth. He had only experienced the era of telephones but not smartphones. Therefore, he only asked Ouyang Lisheng to make something that could transmit voices. However, Ouyang Lisheng was a talent. He implemented the visual transmission feature on top of the audio feature. Lu Shu thought for a while. After obtaining this treasure, how could he maximize his benefits? What did the Wei Wu army need the most? They had weapons, the trident. They had protective gear, the magical weapons and armor. He looked towards Ouyang Lisheng and Ouyang Lisheng suddenly felt chills down his spine. Lu Shu asked, why did you hide in the bronze lamp? Chapter 12:20, The Gourd. Nobody in this world would lock themselves up in a bronze lamp if they could move about freely, right? After entering the bronze lamp, one could not stray too far away from it and had one's movements restrained. This was unacceptable for Lu Shu. Lu Shu would rather die than be forced to do this. Ouyang Lisheng explained, if I had a choice, I wouldn't do this too. I was killed by my enemy but God Lu rushed over in time, allowing Lurel to save my soul. Then, they gave me sufficient time to breathe and made this bronze lamp as a gift for my feelings. If not for that, I would have died. Hold on. Lu Shu felt that he was being struck by lightning. Zhang Weiyu and the rest were unwilling to mention the person around the old king of gods who possessed the dark map because they felt guilty. Everyone was curious about this. In the past, Lu Shu did not care. Moreover, he knew that it was futile to ask them about it. Now, the name suddenly appeared in Lu Shu's world. Lu Shu did not know how to react. Did you say that Lurel was the person around God Lu?
Yeah.
Ouyang Lisheng looked at Lu Shu in confusion. You didn't know about this? Wait a minute, who exactly are you? Lu Shu was stunned. So, the name was not meant to be a joke. When Lu Shu heard from Ouyang Lisheng that the other party kept his soul, he knew that Lurel was the possessor of the dark map. At this moment, Ouyang Lisheng felt that something was wrong. Only God Lu could leave and enter that world. Who could control it if filth removal was guarding it? Since you brought me out, why don't you know who God Lu is? Who on earth are you? Lu Shu glared at Ouyang Lisheng unhappily. Is my identity important? In fact, I am very curious. Since you are the craftsman employed by God Lu, why did God Lu throw you in that place? The logic was correct. This old guy seemed to worship God Lu. Moreover, he created the armor that shook mountains and the world tide. He made a huge contribution. Why did such a loyal master of weapons get thrown into the world of remains by God Lu? Ouyang Lisheng stretched his neck and said, Why should I, the master of weapons, explain to you? Lu Shu looked at Ouyang Lisheng in astonishment. Have you lost your spirit or do you think that I am unable to fight? At this moment, Ouyang Lisheng remembered the plight that both of them were in. He whispered, I thought that it was a pity for God Lu's gourd to only shoot out flying swords. Shouldn't the gourd be able to keep people? God Lu approved my point of view and therefore passed the gourd to me. However, an accident happened during production. I think I figured something out, Lu Shu said. The head-twisting ability of the head-twisting gourd was created by you. The reason why God Lu threw me to that world was not to punish me but to protect me, explained Ouyang Lisheng. The gourd was insane. It chased me and wanted to kill me. However, for some reason, God Lu stopped looking for me afterwards. Perhaps, the gourd was still angry. Lu Shu smiled coldly. You make it sound as though you were wronged. Did we wrong you? Then, Lu Shu asked as though he suddenly thought about something. You went to the Luniverse afterwards? Ouyang Lisheng was stunned. How did you know that? How did you get to the Luniverse? Asked Lu Shu curiously. God Lu went to my hometown to look for weapons and I was the famous craftsman. Of course, I was saved by God Lu and he taught me some skills, boasted Ouyang Lisheng. Lu Shu finally understood after his explanation. Ouyang Lisheng was tricked into the Luniverse like the owner of the sword hut. Lu Shu asked this question because he remembered buying a small wooden sculpture in the black market of the Golden Foundation. The head-twisting gourd reminded him to do so. Initially, Lu Shu thought that the wooden sculpture was a treasure. However, the gourd smashed it in one strike. Thinking about it now, was the wooden sculpture not similar to Ouyang Lisheng? Ouyang Lisheng was sighing to himself, I wonder if the gourd is still angry. At this moment, Lu Shu's expression changed drastically. Then, Ouyang Lisheng saw a gourd fly out from Lu Shu's chest. It was white as jade and shone like the stars. F***CK. Ouyang Lisheng turned and scurried into the bronze lamp. However, he was much slower than the gourd. Ouyang Lisheng knew that he could not hide and could only moan as he awaited his death. However, it was an unnecessary worry. Lu Shu held the gourd in his hand and stuffed it back to the celestial map. Cough cough, laughed Lu Shu, as you can see, it is still angry. All along, Lu Shu had known that the gourd had a bad temper. In the celestial map, it acted as though it was the boss. Apart from the filth removal, it had bullied the concealed arrow, corpse dog, sparrow shade and seizing thief. It liked to go onto other stars and chased the others away. It was like an evil bully. Corpse dog, concealed arrow, and the seizing thief felt wronged every day. Lu Shu thought, who asked you to mess around with this bad-tempered one? At this moment, Ouyang Lisheng knelt down in front of Lu Shu and started crying while hugging his leg. God Lu, why did you change your appearance? I am not God Lu, explained Lu Shu. If you are not God Lu, how are you able to keep the gourd? No wonder, you are able to bring me out from that world. Yes, apart from you, nobody can enter and leave that world freely. Ouyang Lisheng was rather smart, he managed to make a lot of deductions after seeing the gourd. However, he looked depressed. Why did you become like this? You were much more charismatic last time. Lu Shu's face turned black instantly. What is wrong with me now? Ouyang Lisheng did not care about Lu Shu's reaction and continued ranting. You don't know how long I have been waiting for you in that world. Moreover, I could not leave to go to the humans' territory. I was itching to create weapons but could not get any materials. Both the king cow and filth removal did not want to help me. I knew it, only you can grant my wish, nobody else had that ability. Lu Shu was happy. Itching to create weapons is a good thing. I will definitely grant your wish. At this moment, Ouyang Lisheng had a bad premonition.
What does it mean to be happy? 'Cause it looks like we all don't know. Glass half full or empty, man, we just putting on a show. Try to look to the heavens,